Good news part two. It's also of an legal nature, I guess, and I have my consult around seeking to build some kind of case and pursue avenues of damages compensation for historic abuse. This is a sensitive topic, and so if you'd rather not listen, you can check out right now. But I'm not going to go into any details about the historic abuse because that's not appropriate for me or for anyone really. But yeah, basically, there's a coordinated call between the place that I now work with, which works for and with survivors and is made up of people like me, survivors, and a legal firm that works specifically on this called No More. And of course, no more means an end to these forms of abuse and injustice, really. Uh, but it also means no more about what you can actually do in this case. So she basically, the person who was the lawyer that called me, walked me through three avenues. One of them is through the National Redress Scheme, and that is pretty much principally for people who had this happen to them within an institutional setting. So that could be schools, that could be churches, clubs and associations, anything that sort of sits in that kind of setting. And, unfortunately, it's pretty frequent that it happens in those contexts where adults come into contact with young people and children. But as such, the National Redress Scheme was actually set up after the Royal Commission into this matter. As such, I can't apply onto that unless, of course, like child protection had been involved and there was negligence in terms of response to the same. So wherever the institutions of the state might have a responsibility and have reneged on that responsibility, people can possibly use the National Redress Scheme independently of whether it happened within an institutional setting, because the state has that responsibility. The second avenue is to build a civil case whereby basically the person who is the perpetrator, they are sued. Yeah, so they're sued, and in the event that they've already died, their estate can be sued for damages. And neither are possible in my case, because it's true that the perpetrators actually were responsible, but even if I'd tried to pursue this when they were still alive, they wouldn't have had the basis to be sued and have reparations paid. The third avenue is when one is a victim of crime, and things such as my situation fall under that banner. And there's usually a 3-year limit, but when it comes to historic abuse, especially on children, where it's not possible to seek remedy or even file a police report, there's some leniency in how the assessors look at such applications. And so No More is actually going to help me with that process. And I'm so relieved. It's like a door's opening after all these years, because the facts of what happened were, well, I put it in a poem, an open secret. It wasn't as if I didn't disclose, including to family members, but no remedies were sought, and I never knew, that's No More, that could be the object of a legal process. And it really is important because I have been doing therapy since I was a young person, having disclosed and fled where I grew up because of the dangers associated with remaining. And I didn't really get a whole lot of support when I first arrived in Melbourne. The then Centre Against Sexual Assault, Casa House, kind of was developing some support resources, but more by referral, and they were pretty inadequate, to be completely honest. And also, like, due to the basically being in shell shock and trauma as a result of both the impact of these experiences and also the lack of support and having to sort of go into exile, I lived an existence that was very itinerant, and I don't want to speak about it all negatively, but it was really difficult. And I also went through periods of homelessness, which is not unusual for people in my situation. So a lot of us end up having to seek out supported housing and caseworkers, and find ourselves in the social welfare and social services system. And that definitely was my situation as a young person. There were still so many taboos around this, and I basically was, for want of a better phrase, persona non grata, and I didn't really know that many other people who were in this situation, except for a very good friend who has supported me, did support me then. So yeah, this is many decades hence, and it's both bracing, and it will be a long process, but also something I have to do, because you think about the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars I have spent on therapy, including up to the present day. Think about the thousands of dollars that I've lost out of situations of spiraling into mental health crisis, being homeless, having no income, especially in that first kind of decade after disclosure. Think about all of the kind of damages to my person. This is not revenge. This is not about hate. This is not about not being able to put things behind me. It's actually about redress. Yeah, not in the institutional context, but definitely needs to be followed. And if you're hearing this and you have questions, obviously if your situation personally has involved similar conditions, you probably want to maintain privacy, or it would be difficult to talk about. But I really believe that it's important for those of us who can to share information like this, and that's really the aim of why I'm talking about this right now. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not affected by what happened over those many years, actually. There's not a day that goes by. But, I've been also in a period of great post-traumatic growth. And coming out as trans has been a way of reclaiming my body, my identity, my freedom to be, not having the issue used as a device to target me with violence. This is really important, and there's not many voices of ours where we can make those sorts of connections. So thanks for listening, and I'm happy to provide any information in terms of referrals to services, legal support, and so on.